What's up, guys, and welcome to the Week in Review, a form of COI, just a longer form. I'm sitting here with my radio partner, Tanya Buntello. Tanya, how's it going?
I'm really glad that you said Tanya and you didn't do the My Little Buddy thing because that I'm not into that. I
Yeah,
appreciate
wouldn't do that. Um, so it's been an interesting week, I would say, and I think it's going to be interesting in two ways. One, see, doing an entire full show again. It's been six
a while.
months,
It's
five.
it's been some time, not gonna lie. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it'll really be like kicking the rust off you and seeing how well you can keep up with all this stuff that's going on. But yeah, I guess we have to start with the big thing. It's what everybody's talking about. Um, it was the Democratic debate.
Chiefs football.
No one's talking about that. It's been all over the place though. Like, if and did you watch the Democratic debate?
I did not as we've talked before, I don't have cable. I am anti-cable. And so I was going to do the review of the Democratic debate. And when I went to go watch it, all I could find was stuff about Elizabeth Warren and her fight with Bernie Sanders.
By the way, you don't have to have cable. Things like Amazon have free links to Democratic debates. I think it's actually illegal for them to put those behind paywalls. I think. I don't know. I do know there's free options out there because there was one or two when I was battling with a service provider where I had to find a free link somewhere, and I can't remember where, but I'm pretty sure it was on the homepage of Amazon. I think. Just
Normally, I find
future
stuff like
reference.
that on Amazon, but I was on the couch when I was doing it, and I thought I would there'd be like cat or like spring caps. There'd be something where I could just click on a link and they'd show me, and that's all that kept popping up. And it just reinforces the fact that I'm not an Elizabeth Warren fan.
I think it just, you know, Uh, probably, the fact that if you don't have a major service provider, things are kind of more difficult for you, harder to stay informed. I'm not saying that's exactly class warfare, but it's really getting there. So anyway, the big thing is you know, the day leading up to the debate and the day of the debate. Um, there was two stories that came out, both that were leaked from the Elizabeth Warren camp. The first one was basically just Elizabeth Warren feeling like she was being attacked because there was a script that the Bernie Sanders campaign um, had circulating amongst their forums that basically just showed the difference between Warren and Sanders. It really didn't even bash Warren, but she said that it was attacking her and blah blah blah. It was fairly weak. The other one I figured had less credibility and would get less traction because it was a he said she said thing. But as we know, the DNC is really really close with CNN, and I think we can see that Elizabeth Warren's campaign may be linked with the DNC as well. And so CNN came out and reported that Bernie Sanders said that a woman can't win the presidency. And I would be curious the context of what he said that, but it was a two-person meeting. No one has any proof of whether he said it or he didn't. But coming from that, the sources were people who talked to, and I quote CNN on this, they talked to Elizabeth Warren directly soon after the meeting.
Yes,
Directly
and what is
soon. Yeah,
like
right?
I don't yeah, when I read it when I was reading the thingy when I was reading it, and it said that they talked to her directly soon. What do you mean?
What's
If
directly
this was
soon?
a closed door meeting between two people, do you know what I mean? How would you be there?
Well,
It was
and
closed door.
the fact that, like, aside from all of that, I just want to shit on the journalists that wrote directly soon. Like,
I mean, do they have Cody writing their scripts? I am very concerned about this.
yeah, these people went to, major Ivy League schools, and that's how they're writing that. Great. But anyway, so through the entire day, and this was the day leading to the debate. The Warren camp was quiet. They wouldn't say where the story came from. They wouldn't say if it was true. And then that night, she said that she admitted that it did come from her camp, and then she had said it was true. Fast forward to the day of the debate, and CNN had to make a spectacle of this whole thing, namely because they love the Droms, and their company was the one who was pushing this, and the company that was hosting the debate. And the moderator straight up asked Bernie, "Did you say that?" He said, "No, it's ludicrous. Why would I say that?" He uh, talked about the fact that in 1988, 1987, I mean, there's tons of video of him talking to not only children but also female candidates and telling them they could win the presidency. Rallies, all sorts of places where he's talking about this. Um, not that there has to be that, but there's so many like firsthand encounters that even I've had with the Bernie Sanders campaign, where he has talked about someone like Ocasio-Cortez being the next president. But anyway, he answered, and the moderator for CNN went right to Warren and said, "So how did that make you feel when he said that?" I mean, just the most egregious. Like, this is why people hate CNN. This is why people hate mainstream media and call it fake news.
Yes,
For one, it's not
I
news, but
completely ridiculous. I mean, and I will give them some credit that you know what you did. You called. Only did he respond right away and gave proof that no, this is something I've never said. It's something I've never thought. I truly believe anybody could be. Oh yeah, yeah, Elizabeth Warren. So he said this. Did your feelings get hurt? How are you? Please tell us. And and she automatically gets those tears in her eyes, and it's okay. No, no, he didn't, bitch. God.
well, to move it even further, so then she kind of, I don't know, wove that into a girl power moment with her and Amy Klobuchar, two privileged women who act like they're victims. Then at the end, which this is what a lot of people are talking about too, she knew the mics were hot, and she went over to Bernie and said, "I think you called me a liar on national TV." He responded, "What?" And then he said, "No, you lied about me." And then he said, you know, "I'm done with this," basically. And then Tom Steyer has a, "Hey, I didn't want to bother anything. I just wanted to say hi," which was my favorite moment, by the way.
I was really hoping that he'd be like, I just want to say hi and get your autograph and a selfie. Can
Right?
we have a selfie, Bernie? Bernie, I want a selfie. I want to put you on my wall.
I would have
That's
Elizabeth Warren, but she charges $50 a selfie, and I'm too cheap.
what I did. I was
He was
just amazed.
hilarious. And
Well, he
the
was
Tom
so
Steyer memes that have come out from that,
he was the highlight of my evening.
it's
But
funny.
no, I felt like this was a way for CNN and Elizabeth Warren had to plan this somehow that after everything's over we'll take an extra few minutes to turn off those mics. And I feel like Bernie Sanders handled this the best way he possibly could in this situation. I mean, what are you supposed to do? She went straight to him. Like she would even shake his hand. He was probably ready to leave, and they just came out of nowhere with this. I felt like he handled this as best as he could, and he went on his way. And she acted so upset because he wouldn't talk to her.
See, I
What?
disagree. I
Oh
think
yeah.
I think Bernie, if you ask me, and the more and more, here's what makes me nervous about Bernie is I want a Trump. I want a progressive Trump. I want the candidate who's going to say Mitch McConnell wants this, the mainstream centralist fucking, neo libs, they want this. Fuck them. I'm not doing it. You can go to hell. He's not that guy as much. He comes off as that way a lot, but he's way too nice, I guess is what I'm saying. And, I if I was Sanders or if I could have wrote for him, I would have said, "No, dude, call her a liar." Right on during the debate when that question comes up because they knew it was going to, just say straight to her face, "Look, Liz, we all know you're lying about this. There's more than enough proof that says I don't." Now, granted, I understand that thanks to the social justice warriors of America, he can't do that without being called a sexist, and I definitely get that aspect of it as well. But a little bit more backbone, a little bit more harshness, I would like to see out of Sanders because for me it looks weak. But moving forward on this, um, Elizabeth Warren's numbers have dropped significantly. I think she lost like 4%. Um, and I might be getting that from a different poll, but from what I heard, it was 4%. Um, on the night of the debate, Bernie rose. I think it was over 1,000 donations, and they haven't really totaled the sum up yet. But by far more donations than anyone else. Number one, I'll say this: how do you think this attack worked? Like its effectiveness? Where do you think they're gonna go from here? And do you think this hurt or helped Bernie?
I feel that this hurt her in ways that she didn't count on, which is hilarious to me, especially with the she's an Indian and she has African in her. Like, really, lady? Really? And this just adds to those lies when, for somebody like me, when we eventually do have a woman president, you're going to have to be just as strong as a man, and you're going to have to be just as honest as some of these people aren't. Because you will be, do you know what I mean? You're going to
Yeah, yeah.
be under pressure and under scrutiny for every single thing you do. And this is just not a way to start a campaign at all. And I said that a long time ago, especially with all the Indian and the African thing. Nobody cares what you are or you aren't. How you perceive yourself now, that is what we're going to remember. And I just feel like this completely hurt her, and she doesn't realize how bad it actually did. Not only are you lying about Bernie Sanders with CNN behind you, you physically went to him, tried to start something, and that makes you look like an aggressor. I mean, she almost Me Too'd him. And I'm somebody who Me Too's people. I know this.
A lot. You me too,
I
Bernie.
Me Too, Bernie. He's great. My grandpa. Um, I do think it hurt her. I don't know if it hurt her against him though. Bernie, he does come off brusque. He comes off rough around the edges, and most people feel that way about him now. It's really hard. I do hope that. I mean, I want Bernie for president. I love me some
where
Bernie.
where do you think that this is gonna go for in their relationship in the primaries? Where do you think this goes?
Um, you know that ex of yours that we all hate, and how awkward it is whenever we see her in public. That's what this is going to be.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to see each other. They're going to have to be around each other, but God, they're going to hate it. And it's just going to be those creepy moments, like when your parents get divorced and you're like, oh, good, yeah, you came too, yes. Yes, try the shrimp. I heard it went bad. I'll see you later. And that's probably how it's going to be awkward forever. It really is. I don't see how they both can come back from this. I don't feel like he directly called her a liar. I think he should have. I
I
feel like she's
yeah.
a liar.
I love the fact that you did talk about something that only a few people, like I've noticed Crystal Ball talked about this, and only a couple others have really had the cojones to talk about it. Funny enough, they were women, but calling her a liar and saying, yeah, she lied about being a Native American. She lied about losing her job as a teacher because she was pregnant. That wasn't true. And now, I mean, we all know that she's lying about this Bernie thing. And yeah, it really just shows who she is as a person. I other ways that I would disagree with you would be that I think that this completely ruined Elizabeth's chances to. Because here's the thing: the lane that she was in is Biden Buttigieg, and she was getting like that extra support from the progressives, and there was still some of those like centrist progressives who were like, well, I want a woman and she's like the female version of Bernie and I don't pay attention to politics, so I'll push for Warren. Those people, I think, saw this and they were like, ugh, no, never mind, I'm going Bernie. I think we're going to see a little bit more rise in the polls for Bernie. Because, just like we're saying, you know, Elizabeth Warren is she's just a liar. I mean, there's no way to look at it than she's a problem liar. And Bernie is the most consistent politician in American history. I mean, you can go back 30, 40 years and he's saying the same stuff. You can't, you know, that's the one guy that you wouldn't be able to lie about. And so, yeah, I think this hurt her and helps him quite a bit. I'm curious what all our listeners think about it. If you have any thoughts on this, comment down below. If you're just tired of the story and you don't want us to talk about it anymore, you can tell us that too. Anyway, guys, anything like that, the Facebook, whatever, we'll be sharing all that, all those comments and stuff like that. We appreciate it.